Hey folks, this is Steve once again. I wanna welcome everyone back for another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie review. And today I'm going to review and talk about End of Days, which came out 16 November 1999 in the US. This is the handmade custom cover of Arnold. This is the back. But this is the front, which I love this cover. I think it's awesome cover in my opinion. It's custom made. But what can I say about End of Days? I think End of Days is a bit underrated. Not a lot, but I think it's a bit underrated. I think the most underrated is Red Heat because people does not even put in their top 10 favorite films or because it's forgotten, like people claim it's forgotten. But End of Days, I'll still say a bit underrated. I'll say second underrated from Arnold, but a bit underrated. And it's actually my fifth favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Yes, this is actually number five. Yes, I put Red Heat about this film because I grew up watching Red Heat. I grew up I grew up watching Commando, Red Heat, The Running Man, and Total Recall on VHS tapes. As a kid, been a huge fan of Arnold. That time as a kid, still I am a huge fan of Arnold. But End of Days I actually put on number five. I couldn't decide which I will put, Eraser or End of Days, but I put this movie on my number five. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger to death. One of my favorite actors, my favorite action star. My number one action star is still this guy, Sylvester Stallone. Then Jean-Claude Van Damme. Number three, I would say Bruce Willis, and number four, Arnold. I'll put Seagal number five. Definitely number five, Seagal, because I love About the Law, I love Out for Justice, I love Under Siege. I love those three movies incredible to death. They're instant classic, which people should talk more about them. But End of Days, back to End of Days, love this movie to death. It's a supernatural horror classic. I call it a classic because it is. This movie got a negative reviews, negative response when it came out. Arnold Schwarzenegger, after he completed Batman and Robin, Arnold Schwarzenegger had actually a hair surgery. At that time, the studios, after his hair surgery, he couldn't get any studio didn't want to cast Arnold Schwarzenegger because they were afraid if something would happen that they would got a lawsuit against it. But he got the role for End of Days of Chris Jericho. But the character for, not Chris Jericho, Jericho Kane, I'm talking about wrestler, Jericho Kane. The role was actually written for Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise rejected the role because he was working on Magnolia at that time. I do have that film in my Blu-ray collection for Tom Cruise. But Arnold Schwarzenegger got this film, and there was a director that actually got fired. Sam Raimi and Guillermo del Toro, who directed Blade 2, were both hired to do this film, but both of them rejected rejected the direction because they actually because of the filming schedule, because they had a different, they actually were set to direct different films. That's one of the reason. So Peter Hyams was actually cast as the director, and when this movie was released, Arnold was actually very unhappy because it was bought by bad critics, and this is actually the second time I have been reading that Arnold was unhappy with the director. The first time he complained was on The Running Man because Paul Michael Glazer was actually cast in the last minute, and like he claimed he did not research the future, unlike James Cameron, because he didn't had that much time. But I disagree. The same was with Peter Hyams. He claimed that the Arnold claimed that the director was a bad choice, and that it hurt the film. But I disagree. It's a supernatural, it's a horror film. This is the first time Arnold plays in a horror. This is a horror film. It's mixed with action. It's a horror film mixed with action. It's a supernatural horror film mixed with action. And I think that Arnold Schwarzenegger did a perfectly cast, and I think that he did a great performance, and I think that director Peter Hyams did a great direction. I think he did the great direction. I think he's a good director. He directed one of my favorite movies he did, Time Cop, with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I reviewed that film. He did Outland with Sean Connery, so no, he wasn't a bad director. He did a great job directing this film. One of my personal favorite movies from Arnold Schwarzenegger, my personal favorite horror films. Yes, I'll put this in horror section because it is a horror. By the way, I love this cover. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was fantastic. I mean, he was not a bad choice to play former NIPD detective Jerry Cocaine, who has to fight on Millennium. He has to fight for survival, which I love that. Kate Winslet from Titanic, she was written for the role of Christina York, but she turned down the role. So Robin Tunney, which she later did in Prison Break, she played Veronica Roberts, the lawyer. I think was Veronica. No, she wasn't Veronica Roberts. I forgot the character's name in Prison Break, but Robin Tunney, she was also in The Craft. She was also in the film in The Craft, which I loved her in that movie. She was cast to play Christina York. The film received mainly negative reviews, which I don't get it. There's also a soundtrack by Guns N' Roses. Oh my god. Guns N' Roses also worked with Arnold on Terminator 2 Judgment Day. You Could Be Mine, because they had a lunch. I reviewed that. Mostly scenes were filmed in Los Angeles and California, but there was two scenes they did filmed in New York. One scene was when Jericho and Christina Rachel Duran, they go to this park. That was in New York, at night. When you see look like a park, it has dozens of trees. That's actually the night scene. That's actually in New York. They actually filmed that scene in New York, in Manhattan. Was Bryant Park, Manhattan, New York. That scene. The budget for this movie was $100 million, and it made worldwide $211 million. And written was by Andrew V. Marlowe, and I think special effects were also Stan Winston Studios. Stan Winston provided for the creature feature, for the creature feature he provided. So that was awesome. That creature feature, which was awesome in my opinion. I mean, this movie is a pure badass in my opinion. I always love this film. Even for 2 hours. This movie is long, 2 hours, and it goes so fast around. I couldn't even notice that it was 2 hours around because it's so fast paced, I don't know who did the music score. Oh, John Debney did the music score. He did a great job. John Debney, he did a great job for music score for End of Days. And of course, the End of Days stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gabriel Byrne, Kevin Pollak, Robin Tunney, and Rod Steiger. And there are also other cast in it. I think I wrote them down. Udo Kier also plays. He was in Blade. Mogalini, he was also in the film. Miriam Margolyes Yes, I read it that Miriam Margolyes complained about Arnold, like he farted in her face in a talk show. I was like, woman, why the fuck were you then cast in the film working with Arnold if you did not enjoy working with him? Why the fuck were you then in the film at all? You're completely forgotten and don't even care about you. That's my response. Derek O'Connor from Little Weapon 2. He was the bad guy in Little Weapon 2. This movie plays Priest Thomas Aquinas. So that's awesome. So the story talks on Millennium, my birthday, 28 December. A man must fight against the devil to prevent the end of the world in an apocalypse on the New Year's Eve. Armageddon and apocalypse on the New Year's Eve. And the plot follows former New York Police Department Detective Jericho Kane, Arnold Schwarzenegger, after saving a banker's life from an assassin, finds himself embroiled into religious conflict and must protect an innocent young woman who is unlimitedly chosen by evil forces to conceive the Antichrist with Satan. I forgot to mention that also Arnold Schwarzenegger's younger daughter visited the set when they actually tied Arnold on a cross. She also visited the setting of this movie. I completely forgot, but his younger daughter. One of his daughters now married to Chris Pratt. I think was Catherine Schwarzenegger. She's married now to Chris Pratt, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in Jurassic World films. So yeah. But yeah, in the open scene, such in New York, I think was December 31, 1979. A young girl baby is actually born, and she's been chosen by this religious cult. Who they took the baby after the mom takes a birth. They took the girl, this religious cult, and they stabbed the snake and used the blood, and they made like a witchcraft on it. By the way, don't ask me to describe the scene because it was gruesome scene, and I did not watch that scene at all because I was just closing my eyes because I was eating. I didn't want to lose my appetite. But they bring her back. Now 20 years later, this young girl, Christina York, she's been chosen by the devil himself. Devil shows up on this world on Millennium 28 December, and there's 3 days in which he chosen a body, a known banker played by Gabriel Byrne, his body, and his job is to hunt down the girl and to make her pregnant. If he succeeded before the millennium is over, there's gonna be apocalypse, there's gonna be Armageddon, there's gonna be the end of the world. And Detective Jericho Kane, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, respectively. Detective Jericho Kane. He doesn't believe in God. He's alcoholic. He lost his job because his daughter and his wife were actually killed by assassins when he testified against a mob family. And he's now a burnout private detective, and a young banker. They actually hired him to protect him. And when assassin shoots on the banker and Jericho Kane saves his life, takes the bullet, but when he is hunting down the assassin, it turns out it was Derek O'Connor, Thomas Aquinas, and he talked about the end of the world, end of days. And Jericho tells him with his Glock 34, he tells him, get down on your knees, and he tries to shoot him, and Jericho shoots him in the leg. But when the detective March Francis, CCH Powder claims that you said, have you drinking? And his partner Chicago, played by Ken Pollock, says yes this morning, but his but Jericho says no. She says you actually said that the man was talking the make cooler talk because his tongue is cut out. That's impossible. His tongue, it's been cut out. This tongue has been cut out. So Jericho Kane wants to know more about Thomas Aquinas because he was priest. So he researched. He finds his apartment, and he finds all those papers. He also finds the picture of a girl, and because the cops also make the house search. Jericho Kane wants to find out more what's going on. Why was a priest shooting on a banker that was hired to be a bodyguard to be protected? So Jericho Kane is looking for the girl. I think she's only one scene, but that's her. That's her. Robin Tunney, who she plays Christina York, and his name is Christina New York, maybe Christina York. So he starts researching and he finds Christina York. Right in the apartment, a group of men of Satanist cult, they actually showed up and they tried to stab her. They tried to stab her. And that time Jericho Kane, his partner, Kevin Pollak, Chicago, arrived, and they decided to help the girl. Before I go to describe the story department, I forgot to mention it. When the devil, the man, they actually was credited as the man, the devil played by Gabriel Byrne. Gabriel Byrne played good and evil. He in this movie he plays evil, but he also played the good as a priest in Stigmata with that girl, Patricia Arquette from Nightmare on Street 3 Dream Warriors. Anyway, Stan Winston created the special effects for the devil, for the unseen effect of a devil. The devil chooses the banker's body, played by Gabriel Byrne. So now the devil walks in the restaurant. He kisses the girl, goes out, and there's an explosion, and he walks just like in T2. He walks out, and there's a practical effect explosion. The whole restaurant explodes to pieces. And I also love when while the devil is searching for the girl, he sees this young kid. It says nice shirt. It's a nice shirt. And the guy says, "Watch it, top nuts." It says, "Hey kid," and the kid points around the bus. But Gabriel Byrne was fantastic as devil, the devil himself. So meantime, the devil shows up on that priest played by Udo Kier, who becomes his man. I think was head priest. He gets to head priest, and he sees his younger daughter and his wife. We see a bad scene, and Christina York has a dream about him. He keeps continue having dreams. She's like on the subway, on the train, and there's this guy shows up and tells her he's gonna fuck you, Christine. He's gonna fuck you. Then he completely disappears, like she has some sort of fata mirage, like she has like a hallucination about a man who turns into a paper. And now we go to the apartment. The apartment scene. She's been attacked by a group of worshippers. A religious cult of worshippers tried to stab her. One of the guys was Mogalini. He was Monk One and intruder, but Mogalini was in Too Fast, Too Furious because I remembered him. He was in Too Fast, Too Furious when he drove with Paul Walker. Rest in peace. He was driving the car with Paul Walker. They tried to stab her, and when Christina York breaks the window and she hides and she starts fighting with those men, try to stab her. just right in the same time, Jericho Kane and his partner Chicago arrived, and they see there's going on. There's a shootout between Chicago and the few Kobe shooters, and Jericho Kane fights one of the bad guys, throws him down the stairs, but the guy somehow survived. I mean, he was dead, and he fights on Mogolini. The Mogolini escapes and saves Christina York's life because he wants to know answers why a priest was shooting a banker, and he finds out that this girl is actually a motor danger, and yeah, Chris Jericho finds out that this girl is in motor danger, and he decides to protect her. But when he visits her at night, she begins once again attacked. This time by her housekeeper, Miriam Margolius as Mabel, and they try to kill her, and Jericho Kane protects her. He fights Mabel. He defeats her. They both escape because the man wants to have Christine. And while they go in the alley at night, two cops, a police officer in uniform, and of course, Detective Marge Francis shows up, and because he doesn't want to, they shoot at him, but he surrenders, and and I love that scene because both of them shows up, and Detective Marge Francis says shoot him, but don't shoot the girl. The girl has to be unarmed, and he has like this, he has like this, he has like these heads, and he puts both the Glocks out, shoots both of them, he shoots both of them. Now they escape in the park, in that scene in the park that was shot in New York. They escape in the park, and Jericho says, "Who are those men? Why they try to kill us both? Why they try to kill us? I just killed two cops now. Why everyone wants to have you?" And Christina says, "I don't know. I know it's all my fault, but I don't know why." So they go to this church, and by the way, he meets this priest played by Rob Steiger, Father Kowak. Rod Steiger played previously in The Specialist with Sylvester Stallone. So now he worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is awesome, which is fantastic, spectacular. So Father Kowak told earlier, the movie, which I forgot to mention the scene, Jericho, there are forces you don't believe, there are actually forces on it that you don't believe. There's like this woman. She's been tied, and she's like a sidekick, and she keeps telling there's gonna be Armageddon, there's gonna be the end of the days, there's gonna be the end of the world, it's gonna be apocalypse on it, and the devil walks among us, which is really religious. But I really love this movie to death and enjoy. I forgot to mention, love this movie, love End of Days. So they go to the church, and Father Kovac tells they can protect her. So Jericho goes home. He says, "I'll choose my Glock 34." So he goes home, and the devil shows up at his door and tells him to tell him where the girl is, where the girl is. He only wants to have the girl. He makes him a vision. There's also Sven Wolle Thorson, that's one of the hitmen. He sees the hit mob who attack his family, his daughter wife being killed, and he shoots them. He jumps on it but can't, because it's actually a hallucination, because he wasn't there. And of course the devil tells him, "Tell me where he is, where she is." He says never. He shows him out the window, and when Gabriel Byrne shows Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was a stuntman, that was done for real, it wasn't CGI, it was a stuntman who's been thrown out of the window. But the rest of the stunt scenes Arnold Schwarzenegger did himself. There wasn't that much stunt doubles for Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the companies were really afraid that they kept an eye on Arnold, because they're afraid that they're gonna get a lawsuit if he's not fit after his surgery. But he did his scenes fantastic, so they back off. they actually back off, which is awesome. And yeah, and when the devil gives him an arm, Arnold Schwarzenegger pulls him out, throws him out of his apartment, and he goes. He also cut himself in the arm on the glass. The glass he cut himself. But he goes, climbs the window, and his partner Chicago shows up. I forgot to mention when Chicago was also waiting in a stakeout, while Jericho was talking to Christine. The devil makes a fire, he pisses on it, then he uses it as gasoline and shows the match and turns a fire, and Chicago gets blown. Kevin Poland gets blown to pieces, to ashes, and it's great practical effect of the fire, great practical effect. And so Chicago shows up, and Arnold saw and Jericho thought that he was dead. He shoots and says, "Of course I'm bleeding." So now Jericho goes back to the church, and already the devil worshippers shows up. Played by devil worshippers played by head priest shows up and tries to stab the girl to prevent the death. But Jericho uses his Glock 34, fires and destroys his blade, and he fires him in the arm because he tried to stab him one more time and says, I can do this one more time. And of course now the devil shows up, and of course Jericho, I think, fires at him. They escape. And the devil goes, and this guy says, "Stay away, stay away." I think stay away. He goes in the holy ground, grabs that cross, and stabs him in the eye, which has great practical effect. And everyone's like afraid. And so now Jericho and Christine, they both run. They both run into the alley, and Chicago shows up but screws over. He goes and screws over Jericho. A group of the mob of worshippers shows up. They try the mob of worshippers. They show up and they try to they try to beat Arnold. Jericho fights them off but gets beaten. Then gets tied to a cross, which is the first time I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie being defeated. That's one of the reasons I put this movie above Commando. And and of course Father Kovac, played by Rod Steiger from The Specialist, saves Jericho. And there's actually New Year's Eve, and they only have 4 hours to prevent the end of the world, because after 11 o'clock, the devil has to pregnant the girl. He has to make her pregnant, and on the millennium there's gonna be the end of the world, apocalypse and Armageddon. And Jericho wakes up and he grabs all the guns. He grabs Heckler Koch grenade launcher. Then he goes, into that worships in that cult's religious building. The guy who's like, his eyes are like cut, a great effect, and smells that he's full of rage and full of revenge, so he let him in. And when they once again try to sacrifice Christine, he shoots. He once again shoots Francis. Marge Francis. She was actually Marge Francis. She was previously resurrected by the devil because he needs her to fight the girl for him. So she's been killed once again. But Jericho now fires on. He goes and fires on the devil. Devil says, "I really don't wanna kill you." I forgot to say it in the apartment. I love when Arnold says, when he says, Oh, you think you're bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me, a choir boy. But I love that. Oh, you think you're a bad, bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy to me, a choir boy. I love that scene. But yeah, the devil says that he really didn't want to kill you, and now you leave me no choice. And Jericho goes and fires his automatic weapon. Fires, he fires the bad guys, try to kill them. They escape. They go. They actually jump on that in that subway. They actually jump on a subway. A train shows up. They both get down. They lie down. Train goes past them. They run to the train. The guy. The guy. That guy, how is it called? That the guy, I can't remember that guy who was driving the train. I can't remember that guy. Aha, subway conductor. The subway conductor says, "You're right," and Jericho says, "Get us out here." They go on the train. He drives the train, and one of the worshippers climbs. He gives his Glock to Christina. She shoots one of the bad guys. And of course, there is on the train. There is the devil. The subway conductor tries to stop the train, and Jericho says, "No, go drive." They drive. They hit him, but the devil goes and rips subway conductor's head out. He rips his head out, and I love the scene when Jericho goes and he actually splits the mid cars, he goes and splits mid cars. He jumps, and on the next split car, and Christina pulls him in. And I love when the devil's pissed and says Jericho, and I love that scene in which actually Arnold, uses, in which Jericho fires with his grenade launcher with a yellow grenade barrel and blows Satan, who flies into a train. He blows the train to pieces. Practical fact. He goes and uses grenade launcher and fires, and the yellow grenade, the barrel right flies into devil. Devil flies in the train, in the train vehicle, in the train car, and gets blown. He blows the train to pieces. He fires with. He goes and fires with. He goes and fires with. Can't find that. That weapons. I did wrote down. Heckler, he actually uses grenade launcher, armor piercing, and that's 40x 46mm M203P, grenade launcher, yellow rounds. And he fires right. That's my favorite scene. And he goes and fires in the devil, and the devil flies, in the train and blows the train to pieces. Practical effect to ashes. That's my favorite scene. I love that he fires, with the grenade launcher in the devil. I love that scene. It's fantastic scene. So they run to the church, and there's like earthquake in the church, and now the devil leaves the body. He goes. He's now a Christian future. Jericho says hide, and he fights. He fires. He goes and fires on the devil. He gets the devil takes possession of his body, and he tries to finish to Christine, but Jericho grabs himself, and he goes and jumps on a statue as sword and kills himself and prevents the end of the world. And that time Christine shows up, and says thank you. And I forgot to mention, millions of people, they were actually hardly wait on Millennium while they were partying, they were having a party, while one man had to fight for the end of the world, for the end of the Antichrist, by preventing forces of evil, and preventing saving the world, preventing the end of Christ, preventing the Armageddon and apocalypse. But people did not know that the apocalypse is actually I can't pronounce it. Apocalypse is actually coming to us, while one man is fighting. That's not the reason, because one man is fighting, the rest are partying. He's fighting for the survive. He's a hero. And the movie then, of course, says he saved millions of people, billions. He saved billions of people. He saved the girl. He prevented the end of days. He prevented the death. And I love this movie to death. It's one of my personal favorite movies of all time. It's actually my 5th favorite Arnold film. I love End of Days to death. I love End of Days. Best performance by Arnold Schwarzenegger. One of his best performance. Arnold Schwarzenegger's best performance. Robin Tunney was great. Best performance by Robin Tunney as Christina York. Gabriel Byrne as the man, the devil, was badass. Best performance. This movie is a badass in my opinion. It's awesome. Love this movie. My favorite my favorite scene, like I said, is when with a grenade launcher, Jericho fires grenade launcher on the train. I love the train sequence. He goes and fires, with grenade launcher the devil, and blows the train to pieces. That's my favorite scene in the film. I love the special effects. I love the music by John Dabney for the devil. I love the music score. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger as Jericho Kane, retired detective, actually former detective who actually lost his daughter and his wife in a mob hit. I love that he doesn't believe in the God. He says in the church, please God, give me strength. I love that, I just love this movie to death. This is the second time Arnold dies, in the film. And the first time was actually in T2, in which Terminator goes and orders Linda Hamilton to put him in that pool of metal steel, and he does. He gets terminated. But this movie is actually a honorable death, because he jumps on a sword, and it's a honorable death. There was also an alternate ending in which God shows up and resurrects Jericho from the sword, and they both walk alive he walks alive with Christine. And that scene, they tried that testing, they tried that scene with test audience, but it was negative. So they actually put the ending in which Jericho dies. But I really would love to see that our hero survives, but it got negative with test audience. I think there was another scene in which Jericho was reunited with his family because he saw his daughter, his wife, and but that wasn't, I think, wasn't materialized or filmed. But I would really love to see that. Um, yeah, Kevin Pollak did a great job, because he gets on a fire. That was a special effect because he couldn't fire, in that building. He couldn't fire on Jericho or betray Jericho, and the man puts him on fire. That was a practical done. It was a real, they really practical done the effect. It was so awesome. I mean, End of Days, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a horror film, it's a supernatural mixed with horror, just like the Terminator. That's one of the reasons it's in my top 10 favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger films. And I'll do my top 15, but love End of Days. Love this movie to death. The cast, the special effects, the visual effects by Stan Winston was fantastic. Peter Hyams did a great job directing. Um, uh, Andrew Vimarove did a screenplay. This movie is only 2 hours, minutes long, which is actually 2 hours, which is not that long. Uh, it has, it actually, this is the first movie that is also set in New York. I don't remember that any of the movies that Arnold did were set in New York. This is the first time it was set in New York. Yeah, it was the first time, But End of Days, I love the movie to death. I mean, in my definitely my top 5 Arnold films. I don't know what can I say about End of Days that was already said. I think it's a bit underrated, but I still love this movie to death. I love this movie. I prefer this movie over T2. I prefer this movie over Last Action Hero, over Twins. I prefer this movie over those 3 movies. It gets 5.8 on IMDb. Does not deserve 5.8 on IMDb, but really love End of Days. I enjoy this movie. It's a horror film. It's a supernatural. It's a horror film. And like I said, I recommend it to anyone that likes horror films or it's mixed with action. I recommend it to see End of Days. I was not disappointed. I enjoyed it when I watched it. But yeah, I don't have Twins because that time it wasn't on. On the Blu-ray, that movie. That time when I was buying movies for Arnold. I don't have Last Action Hero because it wasn't on my mind to buy that movie. Maybe one day I might gonna buy that and review it, but that's gonna be this summer. It's not gonna happen because I don't have money for it. But End of Days, I love this cover, love this movie. It's a classic. It's, in my opinion, it's a classic. It's a really good movie. One of Arnold's best films, in my opinion, but a bit underrated, but definitely one of his best films. His last movie in the 90s, Sylvester Stallone's movie in the 90s was Copland. Arnold was End of Days, his last movie. Peter Hyams did a great direction. He directed my favorite movie, Time Cop. I don't know what else to say about End of Days. I would say my second favorite Peter Hyams film that he did. Yeah, anyway, that's my movie review on End of Days 1999. I hope you enjoy my review and have a good day and have a good Saturday. And I'll see you in the next review. It's just that's going to be soon. So, peace. I'm out.